Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses as we continue with Part 57, The Kabalah and Modern Theosophy, Book 7. Some Christian Students of the Kabalah from the Doctrine and Literature of the Kabalah by Arthur Edward Waite. 20. The Kabalah and Modern Theosophy. The attempt which was made in the year 1875 by the foundation of the Theosophical Society to extend and perhaps to centralize the study of Oriental Occult Philosophy has, in spite of its checkered history, succeeded to a very large extent in that object. If we remove from consideration certain claims advanced by the founders, about which it would be unbecoming to speak positively, as it would be impossible and misplaced here to attempt their full discussion. And if we regard the society rather as it assumes to regard itself, namely as an organization designed to promote a neglected branch of knowledge, we have only to survey its literature during the past 20 years to see how large a field it has succeeded in covering. No occult student will be inclined to overlook this fact. And as the Theosophical Society possesses at least this aspect of importance, it will be useful to ascertain how far the expositions of Eastern philosophy, which we owe to it, connect with the subject of our inquiry. It may be said in a general manner that the correspondences which I have already established are, of course, recognized. The cosmology and pneumatology of Jewish esoteric tradition are regarded, roughly speaking, as reflections or derivatives from an older knowledge and a higher teaching which has existed from time immemorial in the farthest East. I suppose it would not be denied that the peculiar methods of the Kabalah are, so to speak, indigenous, but with these there is little sympathy and indeed little acquaintance. Nor do I throughout trace a sufficient warrant in knowledge for the expression of particular opinions. The author of Isis Unveiled and the Secret Doctrine had, it must be confessed, an enormous budget of materials, but not very carefully selected. On the one hand, she gives us information which we are not able to check because we do not know her authorities. On the other, she makes statements occasionally with which it is difficult to agree. Thus, she distinguishes between the ordinary or Judaistic and the universal or Oriental Kabalah. If little be known of the one, there is nothing, at least nothing that is definite, known of the other. Its adepts are few, but these heirs, elect of the sages who first discovered the starry truths which shone on the great Shemaiah of the Chaldean law, have solved the absolute and are now resting from their grand labor. That is a statement which, of course, we cannot check. And for any critical study of the Jewish Kabbalah, it can therefore carry no weight. It may be taken to indicate a growing feeling among occultists of all schools that the Hebrew tradition has been perverted. It may be accepted also as evidence that because the term Kabbalah signifies an oral reception, it has come to be used in connection with any unwritten knowledge. Such a course is very inexact and misleading, but the same abuse of words is found in Paracelsus and many later writers. It serves, however, a purpose not intended by those who use it. It distinguishes between scholar and sciolist. The statement which we cannot check is, however, usually accompanied by the statement that we can. In the present case, we are told that the Book of Occultation is the most ancient Hebrew document on occult learning, and I much doubt whether this would be countenanced by any student who is acquainted with the strong claims of the Book of Formation, to say nothing of the literature which belongs to Talmudic times. It is added that the Sefer Zenutia was compiled from another and older work, which is not named, but it is stated that there is only one original copy in existence, and that this is so very old that our modern antiquarians might ponder over its pages an indefinite time, and still not quite agree as to the nature of the fabric upon which it is written. Till antiquaries are furnished with the opportunity, they will be tempted to dismiss this claim. With both these classes of statement, we may connect the affirmation that is not evident in itself and is supported by doubtful reasoning. Thus we are told of Oriental Kabbalists who assert that the traditions of their science are more than 70,000 years old, concerning which claim it is observed that modern science cannot prove it to be false. But the question is whether Kabbalists, Oriental or otherwise, have any colorable pretense of evidence to produce in support of its truth. We may pass over as circumspectly as possible the writer's personal pretension to a first-hand acquaintance with Kabbalistic books, once indisputably in existence, but now lost. Of such is the Chaldean Book of Numbers, which, according to another authority, is a companion to the Aish Metzaref, but is declared in Isis Unveiled to be a part of the great Oriental Kabbalah, namely the patrimony of the persons previously described as having solved the Absolute. To the lesson which is taught by observations of this kind, we may add the borrowed view which rests on bad criticism, as for example that the Talmud is the darkest of enigmas, even for most Jews, thus attributing a mystical sense to the commentaries on the exoteric laws of Israel, the value of which attribution has already been exhibited. I must admit, however, that many considerable names and one of great weight with occultists can be quoted in support of this opinion. It would serve no purpose to extend further the correction of such manifest errors or to enumerate all the singular assertions which rest more or less exclusively on the good authority of Madame Blavatsky. It will be sufficient to refer to her views upon the authenticity of the Zohar. On the one hand, the author is said to be R. Simeon ben Yoshai. Again, it was edited for the first time between AD 70 and 110, and yet again it was written as it now stands by R. Moses de Leon, the original being lost, though at the same time its contents were scattered through a number of minor manuscripts. R. Moses had Syriac, Chaldaic, and Christian Gnostics to help him. Such opinions are without any warrant for serious criticism. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.